All right, what's good, everybody? This your boy D Money. Also got my boy Chef Shizz on our A Lot of Fashion podcast. We're gonna be talking about nothing. I ain't a product from nothing. Oh, nothing to a product. I'm sorry, damn. But what we're gonna be getting into this season is pretty much building products, physical products from nothing, whether it be fashion, food, or whatever. We're also going to be talking about a little bit of politics at the end of this 3-part series that we have in the beginning of the podcast series that we got going on. So definitely tap in, make sure you like and subscribe, and also hit that hype button, because that hype button is going to let all your friends, everybody that follow you and subscribe to your channel as well, know what's going on. And we're just going to keep it going. So first and foremost, how to build a product. You got to understand that, the idea isn't the product. It is what it is. The idea. It's the vision. It's the, backbone of everything that you want to stem from as far as with your, product once it is released and in, the eyes of the public. So first and foremost, you don't start with a logo when you're, say, for instance, designing a product for a fashion brand. Say, with my fashion brand, you don't see a logo on, the products that we have. You see prints. It's a big difference. It helps, actually, as you can see as well on Chef Shizz. He's got one of our t-shirts on today from the Mud collection. As you can, pull up from the website that's available on the top of the screen. But as you can see, it's all prints. People appreciate relatable prints to what they got going on in their, lives as far as emotional, physical, or, situational. So that's number one. Number two is finding the problem. There's a lot of problems. That's why we have different niches in different industries. That's why a lot of people are able to make money, and it doesn't matter who they are. It's just a matter of them finding the problem, whether it be, overpriced products, low quality products, or products that have no identity, in their niche or industry. That makes a big difference once you're able to, help people in day-to-day situation, life situations, or, just being able to satisfy wants and needs. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, that's why you got, industries like clothes, food, and tech that are, the main industries because they're touching on needs and wants. Number three is defining who it's for. You gotta understand when, say for fashion or, even just physical products, you gotta understand who's wearing it, who's, eating it, who's, consuming the product overall, the rooms that they're gonna be, entering, using in these instances, and also the stance that, is behind these products. What people actually, are gonna believe in, what people actually, morally stand for on their day-to-day lives. You know what I'm saying? That's where it, actually makes a difference. So, and needless to say, at the end of all this, it's not about the product. It's about what the product stands for, who the product's for, and how it's going to help these people in their day-to-day or situational lives.
Right on.
You feel me? So, Chef Shizz, floor is all yours, my brother.
Yeah. What's up, y'all? I'm just Chef Shizz.
Go ahead, do your thing, bro.
Today we talk about how I build my products.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. So where I build my products is I basically just, since I sell food, I just go based off the need of what we eat in our community.
For sure.
So I start off with soul food. So I'm thinking, what can I sell? Well, people like chicken wings, people like macaroni and cheese, people like candy yams, stuff like that.
Right.
So, first thing I do, figure out how to build a product. So I'm going to fry some wings up, I'm going to bake the macaroni off, bake the yams,
Mm-hmm.
and then I'll package it, I'll put it in the platter. I figure out the price. I just basically went around, to the different places to see what they was charging, and I set my price accordingly.
For sure.
And that's how we just built the platter.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? So I mean, I don't know. With food is a little different, Clothing is, like I said, more identity, and like I said, it's more into going to the product. Whereas food is just like I said, people love eating. You just gotta make delicious stuff, and you just gotta know who you're selling to.
Exactly. Customer retention is a big thing too as well. Because see, a lot of times you'll see people that sell trash and they still make money. And you wonder why they're making money. It's because they either have an identity behind what they're doing, in the sense of, say, like, clothes. They got a good storyline, whether it be a fake storyline that's just relatable to people's life situations, or a real storyline where, they actually can tell you from experience, hand on hand, what, happened, what they did to make, changes, and how it can, impact you. When it comes to, something like food, is kind of like the same thing, but it has, differences. Where, say Chef Shizz, he has a strong story, authentic story, where, it's relatable to the common Black folk in the community. They understand where he comes from, and, it stands on different, uh, aspects of life. And that's what they follow along with the food, because the food carries that love for what he does. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So that's where, that identity comes from in that aspect. But like you said, there's other aspects to it to where, it changes, but you still gotta, do the research, execute, a solid plan, and everything comes to fruition.
Yeah, definitely. You just gotta understand your market and who you selling to, and the environment, and what you're selling. Like I said, like me, like food is different. Like for instance, right? I sell some food at my house. You feel me? I can't sell people at restaurant prices.
Right.
Even if I'm cooking on restaurant level, because you just gotta think of the environment. I'm in my house. People's gonna look at you like, nigga in the kitchen. Like, come on, like.
Right.
Regardless of the skill set or what I think about myself, you know what I mean? So, when I first started something, they going for like $10, $12, $15.
Right.
I was in the house, I adjusted to my environment. I mean, people was going to pay a certain price. You know what I mean? Because it wasn't coming out of somewhere what they consider official.
Right.
Things like that. So you just gotta understand where you at, and what level you on.
Exactly.
As far as what business you're doing, and just move accordingly. So like I said, started off in my house, then eventually went up, started renting out kitchen spaces like after hour spots, things like that.
Right.
And then the price went up. Because now I got a better environment,
Exactly.
You can charge more because it's a better environment. Things like that when you grow.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Demand. Because also when if stuff start going there, what is the type product you're selling? Once the demand rise, you're supposed to increase the price.
Exactly.
Because that's how you filter out people that really wants it. And
Mm-hmm.
it's how you save your time in actuality.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Because then you're going to see you're going to be over flooded and you're going to be underpaid because you have too many orders. Because it happened to me, honestly. So I get too many orders only by myself.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
And then I couldn't keep up, and then that's actually worse because now I can't even fulfill the orders.
Exactly. Now you start to build a bad reputation if you don't fulfill those orders.
Exactly. That's what happened to me. Bad reputation because now I can't do the stuff because I'm overwhelmed because the demand is too high. Now,
Right.
If I would have adjusted the price, it would have filtered out the people who really wanted to buy my product. And the people who just getting because it's convenient, simple, easy. You know what I mean? Stuff like that.
Right. And that's why I've said on previous episodes as well, too, that it's important to, number one, do the research of your market, industry, your audience. So that way, you know how things are going to change for your business as they grow, as you take those steps. So that way you can plan for, ahead of time, those certain, aspects that could arise before, you get there. So that way, once you get there, you already have a plan and a system already set up. So that way, whether it's you or individuals that are working for you, or, at that time, everybody's prepared for what is next. So that way, things don't fall off. But, like I said, man, it's not about, the idea more so. It's more so about having a solid, system, product, execution in which you're doing. So that way things follow through.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah, definitely got it. Like you said, do the research and know what you're getting yourself into. No matter what kind of business it is, you have to understand what you're getting into first.
Right.
So like I said, when you reach the levels, like I said, I didn't do my research fully. Like I said, because I wasn't expecting the pop.
Right.
And then when I did, like I said, I couldn't keep up with the stuff, and it's just overwhelming.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And then that's just basically like where it's at. Like,
right.
You get to a certain point, there's only so much you can do by yourself.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? That's why you gotta have a team. It's another thing too. Like people think they can do it by themselves. Like nobody never builds himself up by themselves. That's a lot of people tell themselves. There's no such thing as self-made.
Exactly.
It's always there people to help you, whether it's the customer, because it's how you make the money. You sold it to somebody.
Exactly.
The customers built you. You didn't build yourself.
Exactly. Like that's the main thing right there. The people is what builds you up. It's a community. Like once you build a community, that's who supports you, and that community is who you have to, kind of be that hero for. In a sense.
So yeah, that's your demographic. Yeah, I mean, you understand who you serving,
right?
How they like to be served. You know what I mean? Like
right.
I said, because they actually
are going through shit on a day-to-day basis, especially once you rise up. You know what I'm saying? That makes the total difference. People appreciate you. It doesn't even matter what community we talking about or what community background you come from. As long as you appreciate those people and that aspect, they're gonna appreciate you for a lifetime, and that's when it shows in your product. Because, like I said. If you have a solid idea, you got a solid story behind what you're doing, doesn't matter if it's fake or real, but something that's relatable to people on a day-to-day basis, it's going to change lives. And as long as you stay consistent within that story, giving positive, uplifting advice and factual advice, because a lot of people be giving, nonsense bullshit to people and selling that shit like it's fucking gold. Like we gotta get to a point where we gotta start putting out information that is factual and not opinionated, because people are starting to, lose lives, situations, lose money just because they depended on this advice. And it's not turning out to where they want it to be, or even close to that. Mm-hmm. So that's the main thing. But here the main thing is just putting out a solid product, so that way people can really thrive off of it.
Exactly.
It's something of quality, not low quality. Doesn't have to be overpriced for you to make a solid retention. Just make sure that you have it where your business can scale and grow, because you don't want anything to be low price. You want things to be rightly priced so where you can grow and it still benefits the customer. And again, identity is a big thing. Doesn't matter the aspect that it's in, but each business has a form of identity that you want to fall in, so that way your customer can relate and stay with you.
Right.
So Chef Shizz.